Hey gang, and welcome back to Behind the Vine with Brendan. Today I wanted to talk about 2020. No, I don't want to talk about 2020 at all, except for we're going to talk about the best-selling wines of 2020. Some of them were kind of a surprise. Some of them did not surprise me in the least. So let's just get right into it. Our number one selling wine of the year, and I knew this one. Craggy Rain Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. Most of them that you see in the market are Marlborough, so that's the appellation that they come from in New Zealand. This one is Martinborough. The difference in climates is what I like so much about this wine. It has that familiar fruit, so if you like Sauvignon Blancs for that citrus quality, that grassy, lemony, you'll have that. But it's a little bit more than that. It's got tropical notes to it as well. So think of that being balanced and not one note, which so many of them tend to be, balanced with a little bit of like this fresh mango, papaya, peach kind of thing going on too, that really helps it stand out from the rest of the New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, which honestly, oftentimes they just taste the same to me. There's not a huge difference. Number two wine of 2020, we call it our house wine here. The Bertrand Cote de Roses. This is a rosé from southern France. Very light, easygoing, completely dry. I know sometimes people are afraid of rosés. Don't be afraid of rosés. If it's here, it's a dry rosé. It's not going to be a sweet one. This is made from Grenache, Syrah, and Cinsault, and that blend just in and of itself makes outstanding rosés. And this is one of those, and it does not hurt one bit that this package is just amazing with the little inscripted rose on the bottom. So if you haven't seen this one, then that means you haven't been here, because we use these as our water bottles. They're vases throughout the shop. We use them as decoration. This is definitely, it doesn't surprise me. Number three surprised me so much. Domaine Duffour, Cote de Gascon. This wine is, I'm speechless sometimes when I think about this being a $12 bottle of wine that's this good. The grapes are Colombard, Ugni Blanc, and Gros Manseng. So these grapes are oftentimes used for Armagnacs and Cognacs, and any Cote de Gascon labeled wine will tend to be those grapes. Drinks like a Sauvignon Blanc. But the reason that I was surprised that this was number three wine of the year, I didn't bring it in until like July or August. So to think that it missed out on those first 2 months, where both of those wines were here since the beginning, since we've opened. Number four, I don't even know that I would have put this on our top 10 list if I were to guess the 10 wines. It's a wine from Hungary. That's why I was even more surprised. Evolúció Furmint. So Furmint is the grape. This comes from the country of Hungary, the appellation of Tokai. It drinks like a dry wine, but it tends to have just this very faint touch of sweetness to it that I think is the one reason people love it so much. It's not super bone dry like a Sauvignon Blanc or like a rosé. It just kind of fills your mouth a little bit more. Offered this to people as an alternative to Chardonnay, because it does have some of the similar fruit and some of the similar characteristics. Also goes with some of the same food that I would pair a Chardonnay with. Here's the thing that also surprised me but didn't surprise me at the same time. First four top selling wines were whites and rosés. We don't get into reds until now. This is wine number 5 of the year. Luccarelli Primitivo. One of my favorite under $15 bottles of wine ever. If you've been in here and you've talked to me and we've talked about wine, you've probably heard me use the phrase, there's food wines and there's fireplace wines. This wine really does both very well for people just starting to get into wine, or they're very comfortable finding a domestic wine, a California wine that they like. This one is a great option for them to get into old world wine. So Italian, French, Spanish is what we consider old world. This is a great wine to get you into enjoying Italian wines, old world wines. So Primitivo is the grape here. You see Puglia, that's the appellation. Luccarelli is the name of the winery. Puglia is the high heel of the boot. So if you're looking at Italy as a map, you know, it looks like the boot. So this is the high heel of the boot. So it's very far south. Primitivo, the grape here, is the ancestor grape to the Zinfandel that's grown in the US. So you'll see a lot of similar characteristics, a little bit more brambly fruit. This vintage, the 2018, more than any other vintage, and I've known this wine for a very long time. I used to import this wine. Would be a great wine for pasta. This would be a great wine for some sort of roasted meat stew kind of dish. But also, it fulfills that fireplace wine that I talk about so much here. This fills that need. This is a fireplace wine that can also serve as a food wine. Another wine that I've loved and adored for years. As long as I can get it, it'll be in this store. It is my favorite summer red. It's a very unique blend because you just don't see it very often. You don't see producers in Italy doing this anymore. Another Italian wine. Luigi Giordano, Lange Rosso. So Lange Rosso, this is the appellation. 90 or 85% of the blend is Nebbiolo, which is a red grape. And the rest, 10-15%, is a white grape called Arnese. You don't see that very often. There are a few appellations throughout the world where they'll blend in a little bit of a white grape. Kind of softens the blend. These guys have been around long enough. They love sticking to tradition. And this is something that's kind of gotten lost as real estate prices in Italy, or in Piedmont especially, have gotten so expensive. They've kept true to something that they've enjoyed doing for years. It drinks like a Pinot Noir. Nebbiolo by itself, very high acid, very high tannins. This is a young one. This is 2019. This is a young one, so it doesn't see those 3 years in oak like a Barolo would. And then that 10%, 15% of Arnese, it just softens it enough. This pours out and it's got the most beautiful light red color, black cherry, vanilla. It is just unbelievable. If you're somebody who hasn't found anything outside of Pinot Noir that you've enjoyed, you got to give this one a try. Under 20 bucks, and it will surprise you. Our first Spanish wine, Damalisco. So if you've been here, you've seen this label. We've done it by the glass. It used to have a different label with a bull on it or something like that. I don't remember. It was just the bull by itself. Took up a big chunk of the label. At that point, there wasn't Garnacha in the blend. I'm not sure why they changed it, but I'm happy that they did. The other one was very good. It just drank a little bit more rustic and a little less friendly. I like rustic wines, so that's why it was here in the shop. When the new vintage came out, it had this new label. I'm like, that's a beautiful new label. And then I happened to notice and Garnacha. I was very happy that it's only 15% Garnacha in here, but I'm very happy that they did it. Garnacha is very fruity, very soft, very jammy, very rich. Tempranillo can be a little bit more rustic. The appellation this comes from, Toro. This is one of the hottest regions in Spain. So oftentimes you get wines from Toro that are they're too much. They're too much for me to enjoy anyway. And again, I like fireplace wines, but I prefer food wines a little bit more. This is another one that kind of does both jobs very well. A little bit more richness to the fruit. Because it is a hot climate, that Garnacha pumps it up a little bit. This is what they call roble, which means it sees about 6 months in oak. It's, again, super easy going, under $20. Not surprised it's in the top 10 wines of 2020. Not sure how I feel about this one being in the top 10, but it's in the top 10, and let's talk about it. So here we have Saracco Moscato d'Asti. Slightly sparkling, very sweet. I only have one in the shop. And I keep saying, and I've told anybody who's bought it or who's asked, yes, I have a Moscato d'Asti, and if I'm gonna have one, which I should, I'm gonna have what I find to be one of the better ones. This is only in a half bottle size, but at under $10, again, it's that perfect wine for somebody who likes something a little bit sweet, and if you like bubbles, so Grandma, she loves this wine. We don't need to talk more about it than that. Another French wine, I'm so happy. And another wine I used to import. There's a little bit of a theme here. This is only the third one that I've represented at some point in my past. I call this my favorite Malbec. That's another reason, hey, it's my favorite anything. It's gonna sell a little bit more. This is Malbec from the appellation of Cahors. Cahors is where Malbec was born. This is in southern France, southwest France, south of Bordeaux. They grow Merlot there. They grow a little bit of some other stuff, but Malbec is what they grow there, and Malbec is where it was born. I mean, it's even etched into the bottle here. I love the package. I've always liked this wine. I've been to this guy's house. Gilles Fiol was his name. Took us to an amazing lunch. I probably had the single best dish I had in 4 trips to France, and it probably has like 5 ingredients. It was just a mind-blowing dish. Someday we'll have to talk about it, but I don't have time now. So again, Malbec from Cahors. If you're familiar with Argentinian Malbecs, and I had a couple that were like close to being in the top 11 here. If you're familiar with those, you will kind of recognize it right away. That first smell, that first taste, it's going to remind you of an Argentinian Malbec, and you're going to feel comfortable. It's got that fruit, but then it finishes French. You know, it just has this little rustic quality to it, and that's something that makes this such a good food wine and a reason that I sell so much of it. Number 10, this one surprised me because I haven't had it that long either, but people love it, and this bottle is awesome, and the wine is amazing. So Jay Marat is the winemaker here. This is his collection. They just call it, Loire Valley Red, and it's a blend. It's a blend of Gamay, Cabernet Franc, and Pinot Noir. Those are pretty much the only red grapes that are grown in the Loire Valley anyway. This guy's mixing all of them together, but it works. It has the body of a Pinot Noir, so it's a little bit lighter bodied, but it's a little bit more lifted. Cabernet Franc is a big grape. Gamay adds a little bit, to the acidic side of it. Just another easy drinking, amazing red that you could have every single day with food or without, and it won't break the bank at under $15. I'm happy this is in the top 10. Again, kind of surprised that it made the top 10, but very happy it's there. All right, guys, so I hope you liked the rundown, the recap of the top selling wines of 2020. I'm happy with all of these wines, but what do you think? Did we miss anything? Is there something that you're surprised with? I'm very surprised, very, very surprised that there is not a single wine from the United States in the top. Number 15. So there's 14 wines above our first best-selling domestic wine. And that wine I never, ever even sold by the glass. So that surprises me a little bit. But let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think about your experience, if you've had any of these. Which ones would you be most excited to try if you haven't tried any of these? And what haven't you seen in the store that maybe you'd like to see? So hit me up right down below. Let me know. You can check the link to our website in the description. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe. And I hope to see you all soon. Stay safe. Stay healthy, and have a good new year. Cheers.